Here's a video that I'm making for a customer of mine that is having some problems getting bobbins wound correctly. So I wanted to shoot this video and show her how I do it here. I'm just using this bulk roll of thread. This is like a permacore. It's a polyester type bobbin thread. This thread is just for bobbins. There's nothing special about it. It's not special embroidery thread. It's just what I got at my Bernina dealer for threading bobbins. And I'm putting it on. You can't see it here. I have my phone here duct taped onto a tripod so I could shoot this video and use both hands. I'm just using a thread stand here to set the spool on. So I run the thread over the top of the thread stand. You can't see the top of the thread stand because I can't move my camera right now. And I run it through the guide on the machine. And then you run it, there's an arrow here. Goes in the clockwise direction. The thread goes underneath this little silver part here because that adds some tension to the thread. That's the proper way to thread the machine when you're doing a bobbin. On the bobbin itself, when I sell the machines, I check all the bobbins. But check a bobbin to make sure that it didn't get bent. That the sides didn't get bent in or it didn't get stepped on or something like that. I put it on a table. Let me see if you can see that in the video. I put it on a table and just roll it. And look down on it. And you can see by just rolling it that it's not bent or misformed or anything like that. And then it won't cause any problems in the bobbin case, and it won't wind up strangely, I guess I could say, because it's bent. So okay, you have the machine threaded. Thread runs across from the guide across the top. It has to run around this part here because this adds tension to the thread while it's being wound on the bobbin. Just wrap it around a couple times. You can leave a little bit of a tail there. And again, it winds in the clockwise position. The thread's going around here, which adds some tension to it. And we'll let the bobbin wind up here. It should wind fairly evenly with not a ton of thread like piled up on one side or the other. As it's winding, the thread goes up and down. Sometimes I help it a little bit by holding this lever out so you can fill it up all the way. But you don't want to fill up the bobbin with thread past the sides at all because it's going to rub on the bobbin case. This is kind of set up so that it gets close to the edge here, and then this lever goes back and it shuts off. So then what I do when I'm going to wind the next bobbin, as I take the next bobbin, put it on, wrap the thread around. There's a cutter on the back here. Cut the thread off, hit it, and there we go. We're going to do the next one. Thread's on there the way it should be. It's not loose. It's not going to fall off. And I'll wind one more, and then I'll show you just a couple things about threading the bobbin, just to make sure you're doing that correctly. Threading the bobbin case, I should say. I'm just doing this in one take, so if I screw up, I'm not going to shoot another video. It's getting close to the edge. I'll let it go. It should probably shut off by itself. There we go. It's set up to shut off by itself, but again, on some machines, I help it along a little bit by holding this out so it doesn't shut off, just so you get the thread out near the edge. But don't let the thread go over the edge of the outside of the bobbin. Okay, so we're going to cut that off. Again, another nicely wound bobbin. But the important thing when you're doing the bobbins, whether you have the thread on the thread posts on the machine or you're doing it like I am, make sure the thread is running through this guide here because this adds the proper tension to give you a nicely wound bobbin. On the bobbin case itself, both the embroidery and the sewing bobbin case, there's a flat spring on the inside of here. Make sure that's in place. You can drop this and that spring can come out. There's also one other thing I'll say here. There's a hole in the bottom of the bobbin case. This is so the thread sensor detects the movement of the bobbin within the bobbin case. Okay, this spring here can become dislodged. It shows you in the instruction book how to put the spring back in should it come out. But the idea of the spring is to add some side tension on the bobbin, so when it's in the machine it has a little bit of tension on it, so it won't spin by itself. If it's going to spin by itself, then the thread can become unwound inside the bobbin case, and the thread's going to get really loose. You don't want that. So you pull the thread through. Always make sure that when you pull the thread that the bobbin is rotating in the counterclockwise position inside the bobbin case. If it's not, the thread sensor in the machine will shut the machine down because it's going to detect that there isn't any thread. For proper operation, this has to be moving like this in the counterclockwise position. Okay? Tension is set by the larger screw here. The larger of the two screws on the side of the bobbin case. Turn it in just a little bit at a time to tighten it up. Turn it out to loosen it up. How tight should it be? I tell people, take a roll of Scotch tape and pull on the roll of Scotch tape. You feel how tight that is? This should be a bit looser than that. In fact, this tape feels kind of tight when I pull on it. A roll of Scotch tape here. This feels kind of tight. If this was bobbin tension, this would be too much. It's something you have to get a feel for. It's like it's not too loose that it just comes right out real easily, and it's not too tight that it feels like you're pulling Scotch tape off a roll. It's like somewhere in between. It's something you're going to have to get a feel for, and it's something that you might have to adjust slightly when you're sewing, because if you're getting any bobbin thread showing on the top, that means either your top tension's too tight, it's pulling the bobbin thread up, or your bobbin tension is too loose and it's allowing too much bobbin thread to go to the top of what you're sewing on. When you look at the back of what you're sewing on, you should see top thread on the bottom. And when you're sewing something like a tight zigzag or a buttonhole stitch, you should again see top thread on the bottom. You don't want to see bobbin thread on the top. Okay, that's it for now. My name's Bill. I have Bush Video, eBay sales. My email address shows up in some of my other videos. If you want to email me directly, that would be better. If you have any questions, to email me directly rather than emailing me through eBay. And I have this here. This Bush Video, my eBay name, and there's my email address. Thanks for watching.